Welcome back to another episode of My Beautiful Chaos
2.0,
where you never know what you're going to get with your hosts, Misty and Faith. So today my girl is not with me, but I have someone else that hasn't been on here in a long time. So introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Matt. I am Misty's husband, and excited to be here.
He doesn't know why he's here. I said, I feel like I have a topic, so let's just record. And so here we are. What are we going to talk about? We have no idea. We never know. I just know a little bit of the topic. So what I wanted to talk about, actually a couple of things. At dinner time, we've kind of gotten away from it because we just have one kid here now. But we try to do high-lows of the day. We start with the low, end with the high. And the first thing I was thinking of, this is where if you are married, you understand where I'm coming from when I say, I hope he has the right answer. Okay, so if you were to say your high-low, starting with low, I guess, for 2024 so far, what would your high-low be? Like, think about ever since the beginning of the year, what are things high-low?
How many takes do I get?
Should we just say the highs?
Hey, how many takes do I get?
We get one take.
Okay.
Just say your high, I guess. What's your high for this year so far?
Man, we've had a lot of highs. I think the big high for me, I guess, would be we actually finally got to go on our vacation. Our actual honeymoon anniversary.
Oh, my goodness. Yes. And one of the last things that we did was talking about we were hoping to go. I forgot about that.
Nope.
That was not what I was going to say, but
yeah,
that's a great one.
It is a great one. We had a wonderful time. I felt so at peace and relaxed, finally.
Good.
Just to come back home and not be. What about you?
Well, is there anything else? What would one more thing... we're going to get that right answer. If not, I'm going to have to give it, but that's okay.
Well, another high for me is I'm doing something that I've never done before.
What's that?
I have been in the Bible every day this year, doing through the Bible recap and just reading the Bible chronologically. And that's something I've really never done before. So that's a high for me, too.
That was the answer I was looking for.
Yay!
Because that's actually the topic I wanted to talk about. So what we've done this year, that would be my high. My high is, one, just how much I'm able to be in the Word and how many, like, all the different ways that I've been in the Word. But it started with that. Was it before we did the 21-day fast that we started the Bible recap, or was it the same time?
I think it was the same time.
So we decided to fast for 21 days from electronics and social media and TV. What?
It wasn't the same time. It was after. Because during the fast, we were going through James. If I'm not mistaken, I think we were going...
No, I'd already gone through James.
I thought we went through something else then. Before we
No,
actually started.
we never
went through...
Well,
we started late because we didn't start
We
at the beginning of
did.
the year.
We only started like 3 or 5 days in, though, to January. So we either started before or we started, like, that was what we started with. I can't remember, though. I think we started before because I think we didn't start the fast until, like, the 14th.
I think you're right.
And we started, like, January 3rd or 5th or something. We just decided we wanted to do something different. So then we did have the fast, which I guess isn't really important with this now that we realized we started it before. But what I changed during the fast was how I was going through the Bible recap with you. I ended up listening, which I've never done, because I get sidetracked in the, like, all the cross references and all the commentary and all the things. And I just wanted to listen because I know that, I don't know, I felt like that's what I needed to do. But because we were fasting from social media, my habit was wake up in the morning, go to my social media and just doom scroll. And then hours pass and I've just been in bed and most of the day's gone by. So what I did was that's the first thing I did in the morning. And I used to have so much trouble sleeping and I would wake up and I couldn't go back to sleep. And so instead of turning the TV on or whatever, I just went ahead and listened. So sometimes I listen at 3 in the morning. Sometimes it's 5 in the morning. Sometimes I fall asleep when I'm doing it and then I have to do it again. That's what happened this morning. So I listened to it twice this morning. But we have gone through 22 books of the Bible. I have also been reading like I finished the New Testament. I've never done this before in my whole life. So I'm getting close to finishing the whole Bible. But we're so close to finishing the Old Testament.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited about that. But I love that we do that together.
Yeah, me too.
And we can talk about it.
The one thing I like about doing it is that I'm kind of like with you. You know, I listen to it. And so for me, I have an hour and 30-minute drive to work every day. And that's a perfect opportunity for me to get my day started off correct. You know, start
Let's
off
just
right.
stop for just a second. How long are you driving every day to work?
About an hour 15, hour 30 minutes.
That is a long drive to work, y'all. Just saying. I'm
There
sorry.
and back.
Keep going.
But
So you started listening on your way?
so I started listening to, you know, the Bible study on the way to work. And then once they get done listening to it and, you know, go through everything, I then had that quiet time where I just turn the radio off and just, you know, I got another 45 minutes to get there. And it's windshield, I call it windshield time, you know, with Jesus, because I have nothing else to do except for sit there and I'm actually able to talk to him. And it actually makes my day go better, at least my morning, until I get stuck in meetings then. But anyway, but at least my morning goes very well. And then on the way home, it's kind of, again, I have that quiet time. And so I try to listen to something that's upbeat, positive, and just, again, has some more windshield time. So yeah, I enjoy it.
Another thing that I really enjoy listening to that I've discovered this year, and actually when I taught discipleship class, I always would ask for resources, and someone gave me this resource and it is so good. And so I want to just talk about it. I mean, just mention it in case anybody's looking for resources, and it's the Through the Word app. So that's what I used to do during, like when I was at the gym. Instead of watching something when I was going through that fast, I'm like, what can I be doing? Because I'm fasting from watching anything. So I was listening to Through the Word, and I love it because they teach on the chapter and then they go through the chapter, and I just recommend it. That would be something you could listen to on the way home if you're ever looking for anything. Here's what I want to talk about. We said we're doing the Bible recap.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What are your thoughts on the Bible recap? Your for real thoughts. And it's okay if it's not the same as mine. Like, do you enjoy the Bible recap?
Well, I enjoy it better now than I did before because talking with you and I kind of switched my, what is it? The interpretation or the
translation?
The translation,
To
yeah.
New Living because you were listening to it and you had a boring person at first.
Yeah. I listened to it at first, and this dude had a British accent, and it was very
monotone,
or whatever you want to call it. It made the drive hard because I was especially going through some of all the rules and everything. It's like, man, I'm getting tired.
And all the genealogy.
Yes.
I don't know how you listen. I remember the first time I listened to yours, and I'm like, no, I can't do that.
But the guy I listen to now, I like it because it actually has some music set to it, you know, every now and then.
He gets strong, and the music is strong while he's talking, and then he gets calm.
He gets passionate, and that's why I like the fluctuation, and, you know, because it shows the passion, and just, I really enjoy that. What was the question?
The Bible recap in general. Like, what are your thoughts?
I like it. And I like it that, like, whenever you start a new chapter, the host, you know, she does a great job. But what I really like is I actually pull over to the side of the road most of the time to do this because I want to see the cartoon drawings that they do.
And what is that? It's from, but oh my goodness.
I'm not sure where it's from, but the guy will tell the story of what the book is about. Well, he does it in a cartoon, you know, sketch drawing type deal. And I like it because it's like, okay, so now I know what I'm getting into before I actually get into it. So I can kind of prepare myself on what I need to capture, you know, what really stands out. And so, but otherwise, I mean, I think it's good. I mean, for never doing one before, you know, going through this one for the first time and never really going through the Bible before with assistance or with an app, you know, I'm enjoying it.
The Bible Project. I was listening, but I had to look it up while you were talking.
Okay.
But I'm opposite. I don't want to hear about it first. Like, I know a lot of people love hearing like that kind of summary first, and I'm backwards. You know, I do everything backwards. So I don't like hearing anything about it first. I like reading it and just seeing what is God showing me, and then listening to people and saying, oh, either I was way off on that, or oh, God was kind of showing me that while I was reading it.
Well, I think that
But
also,
the Bible Project is great.
I think that also has to do with the fact that maybe, I'm trying to figure out how to say this, you're a little further along in your spiritual walk than I am. So I kind of I want that summary. Whereas you, on the other hand, you may be more like, you're kind of an idea what it is, and you're actually reading it and hearing it, and you're being spoken to more.
But what I think that you have to do, this is where we get real and just people are listening to our for real conversations. I think you have to stop telling yourself that. You have to stop telling yourself that I'm farther along than you are, because I don't know. I mean, like, I'm listening to this woman every morning on TikTok Live. We do Bible study. This girl's 15 years younger than I am, and she has so much more wisdom than I do. And I grew up in church. She grew up in church. So I can't say she's farther along than I am or I'm farther along than she is. It depends on how you look at it. I just think you got to quit replaying. I keep saying replaying the tape. Quit replaying that tape, because I think that's kind of giving you, I think it's blocking you from being able to hear what the Holy Spirit has to say to you, because you're going into it saying, I don't really have that knowledge or that relationship. Am I wrong?
No, I mean, I don't think you're wrong. It's
right answer. No, I'm just kidding.
It's the right answer. Yeah.
No, but I do feel like, because you've said that for as long as I've known you.
Well,
and
I think you do have more of a relationship. I think
it's just when,
because you have been doing it. I mean, I don't want to say like doing it like it's
because
a test.
I'm learning the same things. I'm learning stuff as we go too.
Right. It's like I'll go through like James or Ephesians or something like that. I went through it many years ago. I go through it today. It's telling me something totally different.
That is why it's called the living word.
And so I just think that, what I'm hearing or what I'm getting may be something that you got years ago,
but you may have gotten something years ago that I haven't gotten. So it doesn't mean we're
I think we're
farther along.
I just think we're in different areas on our journey.
We need to see each other as we're in the same place. We're in it together. We're in the same place. I'm not farther than you, and you're not farther than me. What? Why are you looking at me like that? What?
Nothing.
But I love that we do this together. This is one of my very, 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 very favorite things, because I've never done this with somebody. I mean, I've done small groups, but I think it can strengthen a marriage to just say, hey, we're going to take a few minutes a day. We're going to read the same scripture, not together. We're not together when we're going through it, but then we can talk about it. We can be in the pool. We can talk about, what did we talk about today? Well, how did you feel about it? But going back to the Bible recap, I love how Tara Cobble, is that her name? How she has done everything. I love that we're going through it chronologically, but there is one thing I do not love, and I will not do it again. And it's, I got to be opinionated a little bit. This back and forth situation is too much for me. Like, I don't know what in the world books have we even gone through, because I keep thinking, did you think I thought we were finished with Psalms? I thought we were finished with 2 Kings. I thought we were finished with 2 Chronicles. But here we go. Today we're 2 Kings, and tomorrow we're 2 Chronicles, because we keep going back. And the other day we went to 2 Kings. We hadn't been there in like a month.
Right.
And we go back. I'm like, oh, we didn't finish it. And it says something like, oh my goodness. Now I can't even remember the king. So I had to look real quick, because it's King Hezekiah, and I think that we started chapter 19. We have not been in 2 Kings in a month, okay? We've been reading Isaiah every once in a while. Psalms stuck in there, reading Isaiah. Now we are at 2 Kings 19. And so it was when King Hezekiah heard it, that he tore his clothes, covered himself with sackcloth, and went into the house of the Lord. What did he hear? Did you see my note I made that day? I'm like, what did he hear? We heard it a month ago, but I don't remember what it was. I just don't like how it's broken up. Do you feel that way ever at all?
Yeah, it is kind of back and forth, and I never, I like the check mark. It's like, yeah, read this book.
I think I do too. No, I know I do too.
But it's, The only thing I could think of, and again, I'll go through it and listen to Isaiah, and then it goes to Second Kings, and this king's talking about he finally heard it. What did he hear? Then I have to go back and reread what Isaiah just said.
But if we're listening to it, you can't go back. Sorry.
So I have to make a note every now and then up on my phone or a voice note. I can do that. I learned how to do that.
Good for you.
Yeah. But you have to go back and hear what Isaiah was saying, because the two different books, they kind of parallel each other. It was the one thing with David and Psalms. I mean, that was difficult for me because
but it was kind of cool to see.
It was cool to see them blended together and how they interact, or I guess just gel together. But yeah, that part is a little difficult for me to go back and forth because I want to read a book.
Mm-hmm. And Second Kings and Second Chronicles are pretty much exactly the same. So what we read today, we're probably going to read tomorrow. But I'm ready to get done with Kings and Chronicles.
Well, the one we had today, I swear we already read that one.
Thank you. I almost just said that. And so I bet tomorrow it's going to be the same. We went through it, and I'm like, this is all stuff I've already heard. Where did I hear it?
Yeah.
I felt exactly the same way.
It may have been Second Chronicles because we were in that last week.
But we're doing that tomorrow. I don't know. So that's my complaint.
It's exciting. We'll figure it out.
That's my complaint with the Bible recap. So I really want to continue doing this each year.
Yeah.
But different. We'll do something different each year. And maybe next year we just go straight through.
Yeah.
And things will be out of order. And one thing I've always heard, Job is the oldest book in the Bible. I haven't looked. I don't know if it's true, but we didn't start with Job. We started with Genesis. Then we went to Job, and then we went back to Genesis. Genesis is wild. It is crazy wild. Mm-hmm. But I love doing this with you.
I enjoy it too.
I want to keep doing this with you. I feel like it helps us be closer.
I agree.
And my favorite thing was when we went to church after we had been reading for a while, and we were able to see, even though he was preaching from the New Testament, we're like, this goes with exactly what we just did. Plus, we were watching The Chosen, and we're like, oh my goodness, this is exactly what we just read in Exodus.
Yeah.
So I think it makes you feel more confident because you've not done that at church where you've been able to make those connections.
Yeah, I still do that. Like going through the Bible, when we were going through, it's like, oh, wait. He's talking about Jesus' birth. Oh,
I know through Isaiah, it's exciting.
It's like, oh, wait, he's talking about Jesus' death. Oh, wait, he's talking,
about the rapture.
I'm actually starting to see how the prophet was prophesying about Jesus. I'd never made that connection before because the way I grew up, it was mostly New Testament. Mm-hmm. We didn't go through. We didn't go through Old Testament that much. Now we would go. We'd read Psalms every now and then, and maybe a proverb every now and then, but most of the stuff was actually out of the first 4 books in the New Testament. We didn't do anything downstream, so it's kind of like, just being able to put those connections together, it's like, oh, that's cool. Mm-hmm. So I enjoy that.
Well, one of the things I was gonna say, I talked about this a while back, just obstacles in reading the Bible, and I feel like there are 2 things that people say. Time, and that's not an excuse to me. Like, I can show you where you have time to read the Bible. You know me, I don't do excuses. I don't like it. But the second is I don't understand it when I read it. And there are so many things that we have now access to, different translations being one. And we can also, like, for the people who struggle with reading, you've got the audio version, just like you're talking about. There are so many resources.
No, I can read. I just do it in the car.
I know.
Okay? Don't get me wrong. I can read.
But that's where somebody says, I don't have time. If you're telling me you're driving an hour and a half to work, then I'm going to show you where you have time.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's why I don't like that excuse. But the whole translation, like, some people are trying to read the hardest translation that doesn't make sense. And I think it's so important to look at different translations, but also listen and read. And I say that to say I have I'm going to give a little plug. I have a free downloadable that's just a Bible translation chart. If you're trying to figure out the right translation for you, I'm going to link it in the details here so you can go and download it for free. It's like, you don't have to do anything special. You don't have to buy anything. You just get it for free. And it's also in my newest study that I like to talk about because my study's coming out in September and that translation chart is actually in there. But I think it's important to, you used to laugh at me because I would have all these different Bibles in front of me and the computer and my phone and a journal. And it's because I need different translations. So my main Bible is a New King James translation. But then I just got this new one that we both got. Have you really gotten into it at all yet? Do you love it?
I do.
I love the New Living Translation. I love the way that it gives us some commentary to help understand. But then I also have an NIV Bible. But then I love the Message. So I got all of them that I'm listening to. Then I like to go to Strong's. I like to go see what is the original Greek, what is the original Hebrew, and then let me see some commentary there. What were you going to say? And then we'll finish it up for today.
Oh, I'm one of those guys who likes to get into the Bible, but there's a lot of things in there that I don't quite understand. So thank you for giving me the new Bible, but I also have the NIV Bible that I use, and they all have the little footnotes, and it's more of it helps me understand what's happening during that time. You know, I like the cultural of, during this time, da-da-da-da-da, so therefore this offering, whatever, was considered acceptable and why. And I never knew that kind of stuff before. And so I like reading the footnotes, and I'm glad you got me the one that you just got me, because I think it gives me a little more clarity on what it is I'm actually reading.
One thing that you may not have known is, and I'm sorry, I know this is podcast and you can't see it, but I have the YouVersion Bible app open. So did you know, like, you're reading a scripture and you're like, what does that mean? He abandoned the Lord, the God of his ancestors. So you can touch it, scroll over, and click compare. Did you know you could do that?
I did not.
And then it gives you all of the different versions, and you can organize it. Like, you can see what my favorites are, the NLT, then Message, then NIV. I just went off of it but you put it in whatever order you prefer having it. That's so cool. That's something that you can do also, that if you're reading it and you're like, I don't fully understand what it's saying, you can compare the different translations right there, and it can help it make more sense to you. So there's something that you might have learned. The Bible app, YouVersion Bible app, I feel like almost everybody knows that exists. But if you just click on whatever scripture, and you can click as many as you want. If it's verses 5 through 10, then click all those verses. And then at the bottom, a little thing comes up, and you just scroll over to where it says compare, and it'll show you in the different translations, so it helps you understand. So look, you learned something new today.
I did. Thank you.
All right. Is there anything you want to add before we leave?
No.
I enjoyed doing this with you today. We haven't done it in a while. We'll have to do it again.
When was the last time we did this?
2020, I think.
So when we were bored during COVID?
Yes, because we
had nothing else to do.
We were talking, one of the last ones, I think we were talking about our trip and how we were hoping to still be able to go on our trip 2020. And we finally took that honeymoon.
4 years later.
4 years later, which was supposed to be on our 5th anniversary. Yeah. So it has been 9 years, and we finally had our honeymoon, and it was amazing.
It was.
And I want to do it again next year.
Okay. I'm not going to say no on that one.
All right. So on that, we're going to end. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.